Andrew Small was the head of the Freemasons and the Oddfellows at the same time. Mama was Eastern Star, and she was Daughters of Isis at the same time. And this is my grandparents. And my parents came north and they became a part of the workers' movement, the union movement, you know, and the Moors. And so that's what I am. That's the house I come out of. And so I'm involved in the picketing and the demonstratings in high school. I'm a teenager with all of this going on. So when I get in the Navy, I find that the same racism is there. So I hooked up with some brothers from home and some others, and we formed something called the Splib Brotherhood. When I first went in the military, I volunteered to go to Vietnam. I was a 17-year-old kid. I thought this was real. But by the time I get to 20 years old, I'm saying, no, that ain't happening. And they told me, you have orders, you'll be forced to go. So I retorted that if I'm forced to go, the ship won't reach port. So I got court-martialed for that. I lost, but I got a minimal punishment because the captain was very close to me. I was the librarian. And so he had nobody he could talk to, and I'm isolated in the library to keep me from the general population and teaching, because I did this kind of talking back then at 18 years old. Him and I had a rapport that he didn't have with others, the librarian. And so he had nobody he could talk to, and I'm isolated in the library to keep me from the general population and teaching, because I did this kind of talking back then at 18 years old. Him and I had a rapport that he didn't have with others. He gave me a very light punishment and transferred me to another ship. I left the U.S. Navy. I owed them 2 years of reserve time. I refused to do that reserve time. I never served the 2 years, and they gave me an honorable discharge. I showed up at my court-martial that morning wearing a black beret, black leather jacket, black turtleneck shirt, a bandana, a bullet across my chest like the Mexican soldiers wore, a .25 Beretta on my hip, and black combat boots, combat pants. And they said, you can't go in the courtroom like that. I said, well, that's all I got, right? 3 years later, I got an honorable discharge through the mail. And I never served that time. Muhammad says to the Muslim brothers, O ye Muslim men, take from among the widows and the orphans of your brothers killed in battle, as many as your heart can possess, meaning you can treat equally, up to 4. In African general culture, polygamy existed, but as the minority proposition, monogamy is the African proposition, not polygamy. Polygamy is the exception in African culture. But people love the idea of having more than one woman in a legitimate framework rather than dealing with the responsibility of building family. You know, so that's what it came down to. So let me tell you why Africans created polygamy. Even today, for every one male child, there's 2 to 3 female male children. Well, it was the same 1,000 years ago. The Africans still exist today. You know, people still have the wrong reason. Well, let me tell you why Africans created polygamy. Even today, for every one male child, there's 2 to 3 female male children. Well, it was the same 1,000 years ago. The Africans decide, what do we do with the surplus Muslim population? I mean, female population. Europe took female population. Europe took the surplus female population and made them whores and prostitutes. Africa didn't do that. Africa said those who can afford to and could properly take care of should marry more than one woman, so that your female population get the same opportunity to have families and children like any other element of the population, and you don't develop that whore class, prostitute class that developed in Europe.